going on, guys? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. I'm Nick. I love bringing you guys these kinds of videos. So today, after I finished up the 100 rounds that I was running as part of this drill, believe it or not, I keep a tally, especially on guns that I know I'm going to keep for a very long time, potentially my lifetime, the Beretta M9A3 being one of those guns. That put me at the 5,000 round mark. So the M9A3, you guys have seen it in several videos. There's going to be a series of links in the description on various M9A3 videos that I have done up to this point. First looks, comparison with the regular M9, full review, all of that. So this is a 5,000 round update. We'll go ahead and take the Olight PL Pro off, which I do carry with. We'll go more over that here in a second. So 5,000 rounds. What have I learned? What are some things that I like and dislike? So I think we need to touch on the fact, if you're just now tuning into my M9A3 videos, this one is not stock. Now, I haven't dumped a whole lot of money and time into this as far as upgrading it. I do have some aftermarket grip panels. Nothing wrong with the stock grips. These fit my hand better and I like the looks. Everybody knows looking cool is at least half of the equation. So I did do that. This is a regular M9 barrel. I actually swapped it out of the M9 I already have. And the sole reason for that, gun is clear, was to get it just a little bit shorter down here at the muzzle. The stock M9A3 comes with a threaded barrel. It's a little bit longer. If you watch the comparison video, you guys will see that. So I don't need a threaded barrel for carry, so I stuck a regular M9 barrel. A lot of the parts on the standard M9s or 92s are going to be compatible with the M9A3. The other thing I did to it isn't super important, I guess, but you guys, if you're familiar with the 92 series from Beretta, you have a decocker here, so if the hammer's back, you would decock it, and the decocker is going to stay in the down position, rendering the trigger dead. I did a G series conversion to it. All it means is that it's decocker only. So once you decock it, the decocker comes back up. There is no safety. The trigger remains functional unless that's held down. So you can draw the gun and get your first double action shot off without having to worry if maybe that was accidentally engaged. So I think that's about it. Sights are stock. Everything else on it is stock. The trigger is a very nice trigger, but it is also stock. That is Beretta's D series, I think it is. Mainspring that's in here. Very smooth, very nice trigger. So the elephant in the room is, yes, I've been carrying this gun. I went out shooting not too long ago with my FN 509 Tactical with the red dot on it and was not shooting very well. So I had taken this out for some fun and was shooting it better, was getting better draw to first shot times, better split times. It's a phenomenon. Yes, I made sure the dot was sighted in. I was just shooting it better. And with winter being here, this one isn't very hard to conceal for me. So I have been carrying it. I do carry it with the Olight PL Pro light on it, and I carry it in a Lucky Coyote inside the waistband Kydex holster, this big monstrosity here, with soft loops. I know some people have asked clips or soft loops. I prefer the soft loops, a little bit slimmer, a little bit easier for me. If you need extra retention, depending on your belt size, you can crisscross the loops, whatever. I like the soft loops. It does have the wing on it because I carry appendix. So yes, you can carry something like this. I do it all the time, literally every day. So there is that. With that being said, let's go over some of the things that I didn't really like about it. All right, for the first thing on the list, we're going to take a magazine with 17 rounds in it. I know, that's crazy that anybody has that much ammo right now during COVID. And this is partially due to COVID, is why I don't like this. So, put our magazine in there. We chamber it around. We're going to decock it because, yeah, on a double to single action, guys, you have to get that double action practice in. And now that I'm saying that, I'll probably miss this shot. We're 35 yards away from my silhouette. So, let's see what we get here. Alright, did you see what happened? Alright. I missed that one. Alright, see, that's the problem. This is such a fun gun to shoot. It's really hard to have self-control. I actually have to limit how much ammo I bring out here to the range because I'm probably going to shoot it all when I bring this gun out. So, one round left. We'll do the lazy way. Yeah, so there we go. That's the first thing on the list. For the second big thing that I dislike about the M9A3, that's going to be this. Look at it. Alright, you get a good look. Look how awesome that gun is. This is like the Ferrari of firearms in terms of styling and things like that. I know there are more expensive guns. I'm not debating that. No need to flex your wallet size here. But you see how nice it looks? Now, you're going to say, why is that a bad thing? Well, the bad thing is every time some of my friends have seen this gun, they want to know, am I selling it? When can they buy it? Where can I help them find one? It's a lot of conversations have happened because of this gun. When people have seen it anyway, most of the time people don't, because concealed carry being concealed carry. Okay, guys, so I know that's kind of lighthearted there on things I don't like. There really aren't any things that I can think of off the top of my head that I don't like about this gun, other than the fact that it's fun to shoot, so I burn more ammo, and people ask about it all the time. So there is that. The grips, yeah, I changed them out, but the original ones weren't deal breakers. It's a novelty to me as somebody that traditionally carried striker-fired polymer guns, to be able to customize them. And then I was kind of like in a Goldilocks situation. The M9A3 comes with flat Vertex-style grip panels, so you keep this straight back here. And the grip panels that came on it, I didn't feel like I had enough. This is gonna be good. I feel like I had enough girth in my hand there for all the things. So I wanted to change the panels out. The rubber piece it comes with that allows you to get that typical Beretta hump down here, and kind of has plastic panels, but it wraps around, bolts down. That was too much for me. It was sticky, so it would grab my shirt. Trying to clear it to draw, I didn't really like that one too much from a carry perspective. As a range gun, yeah, the rubber would have been just fine for me, but I made the decision fairly early on that this was going to be something that I would want to carry. Initially as part of the review, because I do tend to do that. If I think it's a gun that somebody might gravitate towards for carry, I will try to carry it as part of the review, as long as I can pass my own proficiency standards with it, which is just the responsible thing to do. So yeah, I changed the grip panels out, ordered a holster for it. This Lucky Coyote Kydex has been phenomenal. Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a second. It's been a good gun. The modifications I did to it were for my own peace of mind and my own preferences. The G series conversion, you don't have to do it. I don't like the idea that that could have been bumped down to the safe position, and if I would have drawn that gun and needed it, I would have had a dead trigger and had to overcome that obstacle. So that's why I went with that. I am perfectly confident carrying this gun, round chambered obviously, and decocked, knowing that nothing is going to make that hammer do that unless either I am not qualified to carry a firearm or I pull the trigger. So that being out of the way, yes, I did carry an appendix. Yes, it is a big gun. It's a full-size gun. Holster is everything. I would say holster is everything no matter where you carry, but especially appendix, especially with bigger firearms. This is a sizable gun to carry. This is definitely, you know you have a gun on. But by the same standards, I think we've discussed this more, full-size guns, fighting handguns, if you will, are going to be much easier to use. They're much easier to shoot quickly. You can reach out further with them easier than you can something smaller like my Rami or Smith & Wesson Shield. So I've always kind of gravitated towards at least a mid-size, if not a full-size gun. The barrel swap was, again, for my own comfort. If you guys carry appendix, you already know. As it stands now, gun is clear, but you can see the muzzle right there, flush with the end of the holster. The M9A3 barrel sticks out about another 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. I'm not sure about the exact numbers, but just enough that it's got a protrusion that likes to poke into the inside of my thigh. Not comfortable. So that's really all I've done to the gun. 5,000 rounds through it. I had one malfunction, and that was using my own reloads. I am inclined to believe, and it happened while I was testing out a new load workup that I was working on. I had gotten some new bullets and was trying to figure out the best spot to run those in terms of powder, and I was probably running them a little light. I had a failure to feed the next round, so did eject the spent shell casing. The only thing I can figure is it didn't get the slide far enough back to pick up the next round. It could have been a magazine issue as well, but it only happened the one time and only with those rounds that I was testing out. So factory ammo, it runs great. The majority of the 5,000 rounds that I've put through it have been my own hand loads, which I don't load anything particularly hot. Anybody that shot with me and shot some of them knows that. Typically 124 grain loaded, 60 to 70% of max. Not anything crazy. All I need them to do is be accurate, make a sound when they hit steel, and make holes in paper. So the criteria is not very high there. The accuracy being the big part. Factory ammo, I use 124 grain NATO spec full metal jacket. The gun likes that, so if you have one, I know that these are rough times to be looking for particular ammo, especially 9mm, but 124 grain NATO spec seems to work fine in that gun. Magazines. The magazines the gun ships with are these PVD finished physical vapor deposition, if I'm right. They're very slick. They have a very, very slick finish to them, and that was designed because some of the original M9 magazines that the military had were infamous for getting sand trapped in them, which is more the coating that the government insisted be used on these magazines caused the sand to get trapped in there. So they are 17 round, and they're very similar size to the 15 round. The 15 round first gen 92/M9 magazines work fine in the gun. But these are an improvement. I like these magazines. I've also had good luck with these Mekgar M9 mags. They are 18 round with a +2 base plate. So just to give you an idea on the firearm, they do stick out some. I don't use them for carry. These are practice mags. So you end up with that in the hand. So yeah, a little buffer there. But for range mags, they work good. All of my mags, both the mags that I got with the gun, they are kind of flush fitting. Yeah, the base plate sticks out a little bit, but nothing bad. All these mags have been used and used hard, dropped in the ground, doing reload drills. I don't really baby my stuff. I don't torture test it per se by throwing it into rocks and hitting it with hammers, unless it's a SIG and I want to make sure it won't go off on its own. But yeah, I mean, I treat this stuff kind of hard. So 5,000 rounds through a gun that I am currently carrying. I love it. If you're on the fence about getting one, I know they're not cheap. I don't see why not. If nothing else, even if you weren't going to use this as any kind of defensive firearm, it's a fun gun to shoot, guys. It really is. It will absolutely spoil you as far as double to single action semi-autos go. I have yet to find a double action semi-auto trigger pull that is as smooth as that one is out of the box. The G-Series conversion, to my knowledge, does nothing to impact that trigger pull, so there's nothing I have done to the gun to make it smooth. It's just smooth, and it seems like the longer I shoot it, the smoother it gets. And those are not words spoken lightly on my part. A lot of you know I am a CZ fanboy. CZ triggers, stock CZ triggers, do not even come close to the stock trigger in the Beretta M9A3. A big improvement over the regular M9, so for any of you veterans out there that carried the M9, M9A3 is a phenomenal gun, phenomenal improvement. It's everything the M9 should have been, in my opinion, as time went on. Obviously, some of the stuff wasn't there in '85. So there is that, guys. It's just, I like giving you guys these videos because I can give you the review, and I do 1,000 rounds typically for a review. So that's, you know, pretty good familiarity with the gun, but having carried it, having shot 5,000 rounds now, feel like I'm in a much better place to tell you more about the gun. So there is that. Hopefully get you guys a 10,000 round review on it. COVID ammo situation being the big factor there. It's not even so much manufactured ammo. That's the holdup for me. It's just primers, brass, powder, bullets. I've got it, except for the little bang buttons that go in the back of them. That's my holdup. So I'll be happy if and when things get back to normal there. So with all that being said, guys, if you have an M9A3 or thoughts on the M9A3, drop them in the comments. Again, there's going to be links in the description for the videos I've made on this phenomenal Italian gun. This one actually is Italian. It says made in Italy on the side. So for some reason, I think the Italian ones are more sought after, is what somebody was telling me the other day. I may be wrong there. You have US made ones, Italian made ones. If any of you Beretta people that are far more knowledgeable than I am would like to chime in on why some are more preferred, please do that. I'm curious to know myself. So guys, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Keep shooting, and I'll see you next time.